Hello and welcome. It is the 25th day of July 2019. My name is Derek, and what I'm doing, at least for myself in this video, is seeing if I can find something to sell Litecoin for. I'm going to look at everything, and everything is a few coins. What I have here is, and this is not updated, this is a while ago. But what I noticed is that some of these coins were all at the time just at these higher levels around that. And that's how much it costs to withdraw coins off of Binance, and they go up and down based on values of the market. And then even these numbers here go up and down based on the value of the market again. But it's going to work out where it's just not fun. It's based on 1.5. Because the way I look at it is, if I even have like $50 on the exchange for a coin, I want to withdraw it, and at a buck and a half for 50, that's 3%. New way. So I sorted this earlier by price. I'm going to look at every single one at the reasonable price. What's the most I would spend? I mean, Via, we're going to look at it. Then I have to look at the wallet afterwards because, let's see. Let's go Arn and Younger. So what I'm looking for, and cheaper rather, is I'm going to take LTC divided by the coin, and I'm looking for something that looks bearish because I want to sell Litecoin for such, and if anything pops up, that's what I'm going to do. So now for time frame, I think I'm going to stick right now to the daily. I'm not going to look for something that I think is just going to be a good short-term intra-move play. So it's going to be between the daily and the 3-day term time frame. So how I'm going to do is just LTC BTC divided by ARN BTC, and it's overextended. And this is again something telling me that this has obviously been going down. It's showing no signs of this breaking down by any means, or for most likely in that matter, ARN coin going up. So this is something I wouldn't play. DCR, it's had a little bit of a drop from this move. Some interesting volatility along the way in here back in 2017. And of course, 2017 was a good volatile time, as it was anyway. On the daily term time frame, from this decline, actually, Litecoin is holding this move pretty good. I need to see this thing breaking down below in here, and then maybe I'd be looking for it, but no, nothing here. Against IOTA, on the 3-day chart, very much a nice extended move. On the daily chart, possible signs of this failed breakout. But I'd want to see some further momentum and some sort of maybe early break below this level here for this point. And Red Phoenix, or PHB, there's not much data in here, so this is all I'm going with on the daily. And nothing here. The 18 average has done spectacular and fighting support, so nothing showing yet that this move is over. Because I wouldn't be surprised if Litecoin has an early move, but is there anything else showing that they're really having an early move? And I don't see it here on the daily. Now LSK has broken down below the 18 on the 3-day term time frame. On the daily chart, it has had several down moves in a row, and it has broken down below this level of support. If I shorten this out even further to the 8 hour, starting to get a little bit of possible potential that this is the case. So what I want to do is take a look at LSK against Bitcoin, see if I see any nice little pattern in here. It's breaking above here was one of the entry points to get in. This is still early in a possible move. Well, this is the 8 hour. I want to look at the daily. Uh, okay, so we've established a level of resistance. So I would like to see a little bit more strengthen within this. It's got the potential for getting in there, go and doing something. But until I see, I want to maybe see this for hanging in there for a little bit. So I'm going to write this down as one of my watch lists over the next few days. And an example of a good setup right now is Theta. I'm just going to pop that baby up. This is what the daily chart looks like on Theta. This is the type of setup I'm looking for. So if I see something like that, ooh, baby. Anyway, back to the ratios. Again, what I'm doing is I'm going over here. So I put 4 stars on this for a watch list for LSK. Let's look at Ardor next. And there's really not much more to say here because higher highs, higher lows. We come back to where we came from. Maybe it'll lift off from here. Wouldn't surprise me. Even still at a bullish level, it can come down to the 18 in here. So if I'm not seeing anything right now on this daily time frame, maybe we've established this level of support. But you know what? Until I need to see a lot more for me to be convinced. Because I want to look at really good setups. And if I got to see against Litecoin the market going down, because Litecoin isn't looking anything spectacular recently. So if it doesn't look bearish on here, it's not looking bullish against Bitcoin. Now BNB is an interesting one, and I can even store this off the exchange. And that's it's a funny one when I talk about the strategy of taking coins off of the exchange because okay, I'm doing that. Okay, something happens with the exchange, and my Litecoin and my Theta and all that are available somewhere else, and that may not be good for price action, especially in the short term. But if something does happen in the exchange, I'm gonna and then things work out where these coins are still available for trading elsewhere or in different mechanisms, aka newer decentralized forms of trading. Maybe that becomes a big thing, and all the form of centralized trading goes down. I want to make sure that I have my coins that way. So in cases like that, if something happens to Binance itself, and I got my Binance coin off the exchange, I mean, I kind of just laugh at that idea. But as it goes within this, Litecoin against BNB has been in a steady downtrend, and it has been for quite some time. Does it look like there's going to be another decent leg lower? Uh, well, possibly. I mean, you come up towards here. We've been playing a lot of this within it. Just sticking in with 18 lows. It's been quite a bit of period. So the more it stays within it and holds this low, the less bearish I become on it. But until it has just something to make a pattern of higher highs and higher lows, this might be a higher low, but that's just early in. It's got to eventually get above this high here. So it's got a long ways to go on that one. Continuing on the list, Litecoin and BitTorrent. When this looks like this on the 3-day, I'm just going to stay away from it. XZC is next, so I can just go like this. Well, possibly here. This is definitely on a watch list minimum for sure. Okay, this is, I believe, Whitecoin, I think is XZC. But low, key height. Nice little intra move here. What's the volatility? 215 up to 6.5, and of course back down. And from this 2 number, it's gotten up to 16, now down to 9. Oh, this is most certainly more so on the watch list here. I'm going to have to take some more of a look on this. So I see it showing a lot of weakness grinding in within the 18 average of lows. A lot of the support at 930. I should just probably stick an alert in down here. Or, let's see, I might even just buy some. So while it comes in, this is definitely definitely showing more weakness possibilities. Like I'd rather bet to go to 830 than I would to go up here, especially with this prolonged support, like descending triangle type of view in here. Let's take a look at this against BTC next. Zcoin. What was I thinking? White. On the daily term time frame, it's starting to show possibilities in here. That's ready to get going. I think I do need to put an alert in though. Now I gotta determine where. Alrighty. I'm gonna really want to start to take a look at it 977. I'm not gonna buy it if it hits there. I'm gonna stick my alert. Even what did I do here? Minimize this. 979. If uh, if in this, it's at this stage, I want to either see if it's able to break above it marginally. But what I would prefer to see happen is to see it hold and stay in this area for a good amount of time. So I'd look at this a couple times a day, 3 times a day, if it gets up towards this area. But yeah, this definitely a candidate that's looking good. I like you see the circle shape around it. We've had this resistance test here at like the 958 to 978 mark. So definitely something uh, that's looking good. PivX. Now that's an interesting one because I was looking at that earlier, and I don't think that's a play. But it's been definitely. Well. Throw that aside. Throw that. No, take that back. Take that. Take no. Take that all back. No, throw. Definitely take that back. Wow, this could be a play. On the 8 hour here, you see this nice little curvature. We're at 500. It's got to be 5,000 satoshi. It's not 500 satoshi. This is 7 decimals. Even still at 5,000. Wow. Okay then. So we have this at a low here at 420. No, not the greatest of volatility, but still, that's move up here would be meh. What do we see on the daily? Is it? It's got a lot to work to do. The 8 hour looks good, so for a trade there, and if it gets above it, it's got the potential to go big. But here's the kicker, though. And this is a beautiful setup. If you're looking for a trade of something that's got a price objective of near 10%, 7, 8%. Because to me, I think a price objective right now really does seem as if it can come up to this 550 handle, which is like 50 points. That's about 10%. But I'm going to be a little bit, I don't know after that what we're going to do because a move like that on the daily term is just doing stage number 2, establishing a level of resistance. And still a lower high from here. Band is just starting to flatten out right now. So let's move on to the next one. But you know what? That's definitely a nice short term pattern. I recently got out of ARC, but I'll take a good look at it again. Of course, my luck, I see it's up 50% today. Probably not. Hey, you never know. It did. 410. Of course, that's fine though. That's fine. It was actually a very small holding, very small holding. And I was trying to see what I can get out of, and it was like one of those. I wasn't. Wallet was like meh, but that's okay. So what's up next? LTC I'm already in. Ripple I'm in. Cardano I'm in. Strat I wasn't too happy with the wallet, but you know what? It's still easy to store and put it in there. So I'm gonna take a look at it. Actually, I want to take a look at it against Litecoin first. And if it looks good against that, it's early on. It's Of course I'm looking for a bearish signal in here, and wow, what a run though. 19 to 178. And again, I'm looking for coins that just might be early movers among the altcoins. Now here I have Raven against Bitcoin, and this is an interesting situation here because well, first of all, the volatility here, 200 down to 1500. Yeah, it's not bad, pretty decent for a week. Okay, for that one move. But we have the price action coming up here to the 18 average after making this low from a break of this trend line. So how have we reacted after the fact? Well, from that, it's a fast resistance or fast move. 4 consecutive decent down days. Nothing big, but enough to clearly break this. And now we're seeing the potential for resistance. Do we see anything on the shorter term that's going to help for me? Yeah, I think breaking down below this 18 average of lows in here. I hope I have enough alerts left, but if I see this breaking down below, that could be enough. So what does this mean on Raven against Bitcoin? It needs to get above this 18 average of highs and start to move up. Okay, so same thing again. What I'd want to see is a clear break of this resistance at 507, or for it to hold and stay above 484 to 507 in this little area here for a prolonged amount of time. Either way, I'm going to see it when it reaches this high. I used to get a line. Now, why is that not happening anymore? Okay, crossing only once. Show pop up. Well, either way. That is Raven. Now, Syscoin brings an interesting story here. This has just been, whoa, my goodness, what Syscoins is getting its ass kicked right now. The ratio had major support at around 200 and a half, 250. It had a double hit level of resistance. Well, obviously it came again, but double hit amongst all of this up until like in the 2018, 2017 period at high 600s, 650. It consolidated that high 600, 700 level in October of last year. But since, and even really since here, it's been off to the races. But it's even gotten even sicker than that. And it's not a straight trend line, but we've already broken that to the upside going higher. It's been well overextended, but at the same point, that's what we're looking for. Is we're looking for the possibility of what could be a big move. This is telling us this has really, really gotten its ass kicked against Bitcoin. Obviously, there's no other way. But here I see a lot of this momentum losing form. The last 3 days in here showing the 18 lows tangling in there. Definitely strengthening a support level here at this really 28, but it's looking like it's upgrading it or downgrading it, depending on which way you want to look at it. But 27 and 3/4. Do I see anything here in the short term that's going to give me some indication? Well, what's going on here with this volume? Let's take a look at SIS against Bitcoin. See if there's anything short term giving us. Well, something's going on within this period. So something interesting is happening. One of the things I think of immediately is you just buy now in a spot like this. This is a very, very interesting pattern here when we take a look at this level of resistance that has become support. And as I've said so many times, we make this breakout above. I need to see it hold the 18 and where we came from, and it's done that. This is going back to July 17th. So this is something that's been in play now for about a week. So it comes back and retests that area, but it retests it again, 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 and it's doing this all the time. And during this entire time, it's been holding the 18. But this line, which was resistance in here, support all the way to about here. But what's happened since then is that it has had this, and we've had this. Now we've had this move here right now on this current period within the last 3 hours that has really shown me something very, very interesting because I state, okay, now that I want to see this, I want to come back. Well, it's back to where it came from already. What's the what do we see here in the hourly? Oh my goodness, I might just buy some of this. Okay, well, that's SYS. Let's continue on further. Litecoin and Bitcoin shares. Interesting setup here. This resistance here, it's 1272. This support upgraded to 397, which before was in at 271. And since breaking out here at about 544, it's been nonstop. It hasn't ended yet. Interesting period in here, bringing the price action down, holding in there. I gotta wonder now if it's just one of those flash moves, and that's really what it looks like. So nothing much going on here. Next up is WAN, which has gotten decently below the 18, but this is just this has happened quite a bit recently, and this has been a long, 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 long run up. I mean, I would never ever want to be like, okay, I want to buy long to go, think it's going to go higher. Meaning, well, I can't say that. I mean, fundamentally, it could be the case, but this has been a long-standing trend that has been going on within this market. This is telling me that all I'd really want to play for is maybe some sort of short-term move. But I mean, it does have this substantial noticeable break that it's had on the 8-hour chart. I've taken a look at. This has definitely been getting its ass kicked big time recently, but there's nothing wrong with that for what could be spectacular gains. Of course, the hourly is looking Pretty good, and I have a line I put in there a long time ago. So we're talking about 9,000 down to 300, a 30x loss. And these bear markets are very difficult to defeat. There's no way I'm trusting this move right now that this is going to be something that I'm going to want to play. So all this could tell me just looking at this is all I could day trade this if I were to do it would be something short term. So I gave one example earlier. I can't remember the code on it, where all I would think of, but I mean, all I'd be looking for definitely be getting weary, getting to the next hitting previous resistance at about 350. So maybe you might be able to scalp away at a 15% move. But I don't know. Maybe it might be a good leading indicator, but or leading mover, but we'll see. Next up is Nav against Bitcoin. So I've seen this. We just seen this few charts ago. Same sort of deal. Look at this major support at 50. Originally having this resistance at 245, and really never even attempting to get back there until here, because this resistance was well below where it came from. Then it did come back to where we came from in the December 12th, 2017 timeframe. Major pullback. I mean, great volatility. You can see how a lot of it is ending, but there's still a lot of these up and down choppy moves. I mean, what's the story with this 3 day period and this 3 day period and this? I know playing coins like the Nav, it might have a low volume, so you have to be really tricky with the order book. There could be a 1%, 3/4% differential on the spread, as they call it, which a lot of coins have very tight spreads on Binance. And let's see if we can see anything with these moves on the 8 hour. I mean, 617. You have to be fast for a lot of these moves, so I'm just going to pass on to the next coin. And this is Ontology Gas 3 day, which means the daily looks like this. So, next. This is QLC. And with coins like this, if I was going to trade this, I want to see Litecoin have a huge move, this to go up higher, and then get it when I can see another decent leg move like that. But I'm not going to want to do it because these other coins are losing worse than Bitcoin is right now. And that would be the case with a lot of these up moves right now. But you do see the volatility, 2,000 down to a little, basically almost a 2x move in here. This move is going from almost 3 to almost 2, so a 50% move. And within this range, I mean, it's probably really not tight, I guess. 35 medium to 4,000. Yeah, pretty tight range of about 12, 13%. But if you can hit the lows and the highs, you can get it to work. But yeah, again, really tight range. And we're supporting this level of resistance, so it's looking more bullish than bearish. Let's move on next to Cyber Miles, and I have to go like this to just ignore that Pierce move. But this is showing some interest, just quickly looking at the 3 day to start. As far as volatility here, we got 1,500 and change down to 500. That's about a 3x move. I used to be in this, and I'm listening a lot to Samantha Jane lately. She seems to like this coin too, so this is probably something I'm going to in time get into. 450 up to 21, down to 300. But as we can see from this run here from October of last year, 447 up to 36. But the move in here, and I'm just gonna, you can see in here the 18 lows, what it's doing from this leg. Definitely, if I see it starting to break down below in here. One of the strategies is, I mean, I talk about waiting for a break move below here, but if I see it start to falter from here, you know what, that to me isn't a bad, I think that's a pretty reasonable entry spot as well. But I want to take a look at this against Bitcoin. I'm looking for what might be early Bitcoin movers, thus should also overperform Litecoin. And on the 3 day, I really don't see too much in here. A lot of volatility. What's up with this volume in here? Big, big volume. How many shares are being, well, shares, coins are being traded? Volume 386 million. Back in here, we're talking about 14. The pullbacks, they normally come on low volume. These two decent volume days in here are up day and then a sideways day. That's kind of bullish in a way. Oh, okay. That's how much is this in dollar terms? 386 million. It looks like it's 435 Satoshi, and I think it is. That worked out to about $18 million per day here. Hmm. I really can't ignore much of that. 8 hour time frame. This is an interesting situation here because as we can see, as it's been sideways ranging here from this decline. We had this period here just hang in there within the highs. I mean, look at this empty space. All of this supporting in here. And when it resists it, it always pulls back quickly for one form or another, either instantly or over the next couple of periods. Not this one. This one's holding in there. Just closed, 7 hours and 48 minutes left, so it's the start of a new period. What's the single hour term show? And this is ready to go. I'm probably going to buy this actually. I gotta take a look at the wallet though. Next up is Bitcoin Gold against Litecoin, and we can see in here this level at 3 was this resistance. This low was 140, high is 5. So volatility's man, nothing fantastic compared to the rest. And this is just getting sick. And I mean, I don't think I can trade this at all because you have a spot where it broke down below this, and now you have 4 instant green pan candles to the 18 average of highs. Basically, as about as high as I'd want this to go for this to be a resistance area move, or else this is looking like a failed breakdown and fast move higher would come in. On the daily term time frame, it successfully corrected this 18 nicely, and just still holding in there within this. So obviously nothing here to suggest buying but Bitcoin Gold. I've never been a big fan of it, and well, I'm still not. Here is yo-yo against Bitcoin. I'm not going to shrink it off, but we can see it's been in this consistent uptrend from this level, and nothing here showing that it's looking to go lower. Looking at Horizon or Zen, nice little failed breakdown in here. You can see it went from 12 down to like 6 and fast move higher. Since then, we're having a correctionary phase, so I mean, I really know nothing here. This is nothing. I don't see anything here of much. I mean, it possibly can transition into a downtrend and a failed breakout in here. Something possibly worth looking at for the next little while. So I'm going to put, what are we on, Zen? This. So next up, we're going to take a look at Aeon, Nano, BCD, the Nebel. So let's look at AION next. And it too has been getting its ass kicked against Bitcoin or Litecoin rather for quite some time. It has made a move on the 3 day time frame below the 18 into areas not seen in a while within here and single hour time frame. So I'm just going to take a quick peek of it on that against Bitcoin. It's actually rising pretty nicely, but most likely it's not going to be a spot, yeah, that I'm going to like because all it's doing is establishing stage number 2. For me to want to be bullish on this, I need to see it have a lot. I need to see it hold and stay within this. There's too many failed breakouts that can happen on here. No, no way, no how on this yet. And right now with Nano, and I'm going to put the 3 day on. We'll go back to the daily. But this one's had a nice little breakdown below in here. It's came back to where it's came from. After it was pretty close to it here, so it's barely went down below this support, which is something I find of note where it could have more extension to go lower. I want to see how this day reacts within this move, or that period. And this was a spot where it had this breakdown, came in here, started, and now it's just breaking down. So what's the story with Nano? What's going on here that's telling me that this might be ready to get going? Do we have some sort of bullish signal here? Wow, interesting. Okay, well, there's the band flattening it, and like I've stated before, you have this. I need to see it hold where we came from in the 18. Well, at least it's been holding the 18 in here. A lot of strength, like 2 periods or so. These two here, or even 3 when you include this, just staying within this, and now the breakout in the session that we have just endured. 3 hour term time frame. Is it a jump the gun buy now? I mean, I suppose if you can handle the risk tolerance, that yeah, I suppose it could come back here to like 1253. But we're early in the move. This thing has the potential again because of this high. It's pretty much barely above it. I mean, when you talk about three little bears, about resistance level being way too small, way too big, or just right, I'm always looking for just right. I mean, this is about as tiny as it gets to just qualify for too small. It's barely noticeably above that level of resistance. It's still technically microscopically ahead. But the when you look at risk reward play, one of the ways of looking at it is where do we see price objectives going to? And I want to try to talk like Seinfeld like this, but I'm not good at it, so I'm not going to imitate it. But anyway, I don't know why I said that. This area here, 1895 to 23. So we're looking right off the bat at a decent sized target level of 50-ish%. And that's just one level. Maybe we come up here and to some of these other levels as well. As far as as far as where we could go, if this is a failed breakout, where are we going to know that this is a failure if that's what we're going to see? Because the next step is this thing going back into congestion area. So I would need for it to have weakness around here and show falter for any type of me stating that this is a failed move, because I could very easily buy here, price action could come down here, I'm like, oh shit, or whatever. It's going down, I gotta get out. I get out at 1164, I'm down like say couple hundred basis points, 20 plus percent, and it's the low. And then it just goes back up. I'm like, damn it. I mean, I knew it. Whatever. So risk tolerance here, we're talking about the 1,000 number. You're looking at 33% down. So it's going to at least go down that for me to state, yeah, this thing could be going down a lot lower. As far as trying to just find a time frame where I can be comfortable, I mean, it's been continuously making its way up higher and coming off of support here, it lifted up. Coming off of support here, it looks like it's lifting up. So yeah, potentially could be making this higher move, but we're still well overextended on this. Definitely going to put this on the watch list. Take a look at BCD. I don't need to show much more, but what an interesting move. I guess the volatility I'll look at 2 to 115. Holy crap. Well, volatile to say the least. If you want something on high risk, high reward, and you want just extreme volatility, I mean, if this thing eventually goes down, I mean, it could go down big, but I mean, we've seen it have this move go from 5 to 20. This thing could easily be a 2, 3, 400, 700, 1,000 fast as well, too. Within Nebel, NEBL, we started off at 48, falling down to 4 and change, up to 112, and showing no signs of rolling over at this point in a large uptrend. IOST showing some interesting volatility, so I'm going to have to look a little more into this. Middle part of this whatever choppy range, I mean, it's still decently above the 18 lows and in this area, noticeably below this high. What's the status with this move? But the volatility, 5,600 to 14,000, it's not that good. And my internet's now starting to slow down now. Okay, well, this might take a bit to upload. It's been really, really choppy. It's really more of a location situation for where I am more than anything. And of course, a terrible provider. It looks like these are one of the moves you'd have to be fast on, but 8,800 up to 12, nothing great. They just go through these annoying issues. So try to find a way to fix this area. Either new internet provider, actually just pay to get a physical thing click in here, but anyway. I'll conclude this video now, and the internet will get back going on my end in just moments. So I'll upload it. It may take an hour, as long as there's no big issues on my end. If that's the case, then I'll have to wait till my internet comes back on, because it's completely off now. Now it says it's back on. At least it should be, but nothing's loading. Now it loses my data. Still says loading, but wow, what went on with HC? What just happened here? Went from 87 down to 20. That was a huge move. That was a huge, huge move. Don't know how long this will take to load, but I'll pause it till it does. And now it's having some problems on me. It's one of those things well, for a few months it was perfect without a single problem for like 12 or 9, 10, 11 consecutive weeks. Last few days it's been off and on. A little bit of problems this morning. The upload video was about 20 minutes later than normal. And then it was like amazing from like well, all day up until just now. So it's one of those in and out type of periods. Live in the country, so there's only so much service available. And anyway, thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.